You ever get that feeling on a Friday where your brain is already halfway through a glue up that hasn't happened yet? My hands are still clean, but in my head, I'm already covered in sawdust and wondering where I put my favorite marking knife.
I think the listeners are more worried about the mysterious resin on your apron than your marking knife, Tiger. Welcome back to the den, everyone. It's February 20th, 2026, and we are looking at a world where the robots are getting cleaner and the humans are getting, well, shiftier, in a good way.
Shifty is a trade skill, Alex. We call it lateral problem solving. And speaking of problems, can we talk about the great 3D printing gastrointestinal crisis?
You mean the filament poop? I saw your Instagram story. It looked like a rainbow-colored plastic bird had a very hectic morning in your shop.
It's the bane of my existence. Or it was. For years, if you wanted a print with more than one color, the machine had to literally vomit out the old color into a heap to clear the throat before it could move on to the next. I've probably thrown away more weight in purge blocks and poop than I've actually kept in finished models. It felt like buying a steak, but having to pay for the cow's shoes too.
But the tech is catching up, right? You were raving about the Snapmaker U1 before we hit record.
It's the tool changer, Alex. That's the secret sauce. Instead of one nozzle trying to juggle 5 colors like a tired circus performer, the U1 has independent heads. It parks one, picks up another. Zero waste. It's the difference between using one brush for a whole mural and having to wash it every time you change colors, and just having a palette of brushes ready to go.
I'm guessing Creality isn't just sitting there watching them take the crown.
No, they're doing something clever with the CFSC system. For the K1 series, they're using these sticks of filament. It's less of a mechanical overhaul and more of a workflow hack. It's making multi-material accessible for the guy who doesn't want to drop $5,000 on a professional rig, but is tired of his shop floor looking like a confetti factory.
Speaking of things looking cool, you showed me that new Quicksilver TPU from Bamboo. I genuinely thought it was liquid mercury for a second.
That stuff is terrifyingly beautiful. It's flexible, it's durable, and it looks like it belongs on a high-end watch strap or a spacesuit. If you're a maker mogul trying to sell products on your own site, the plastic look is your enemy. This stuff finishes like premium hardware. It's moves like these that make 2026 feel like the year the hobbyist label finally loses its sting.
Well, the hobbyist label is definitely being traded in for professional lately. We're seeing some wild numbers in the labor market. 60% of Gen Zers are eyeing the trades now. Tiger, you've been saying for years that the pendulum would swing back from the cubicle to the workbench.
It had to. You can only tell so many kids to go get a degree in interdisciplinary vibe studies before someone realizes that the person who knows how to wire a 3-way switch is the one actually holding the keys to the kingdom. There's a quiet dignity in fixing things that stay fixed.
You say quiet dignity, but the report says we need 349,000 new workers in 2026 just to keep the lights on. That doesn't sound quiet. That sounds like a gold rush.
It is, but it's a modern gold rush. There are 80,000 openings for electricians every single year. But listen, if you're listening to this and thinking about jumping ship from your office job, don't just be an electrician.
Okay, let's hear it. What's the Tiger special advice for the new kids?
Don't just learn how to run Romex through studs. Go deep on the green stuff. Smart home integration, EV charging grids, residential solar. That's where the white glove money is. It's the difference between being a mechanic who fixes mufflers and the guy who knows how to tune a Tesla's electric drive unit. Specialized knowledge is the only thing that's truly recession-proof.
So basically, become the person the AI can't replace because you're the one who actually has to crawl into the crawl space and plug the AI in.
Exactly. Robots are terrible at maneuvering through 1970s insulation and spiders. Trust me on that.
Fair point. Speaking of things being replaced, let's talk about the digital shopfront. Instagram in 2026 is a different beast. I've noticed you've stopped posting those perfectly staged photos of your finished projects.
Content fatigue, Alex. People are tired of the glamour shot. It feels fake. Nowadays, if I'm selling a table, I don't just show the table under museum lights. I show the moment the chisel slipped and I had to figure out how to hide a gouge with a decorative Dutchman patch.
People actually want to see your mistakes?
They want to see the process. That hyper-transparency thing, it's real. Use those broadcast channels. I've been sharing the specific grit progression I use for finishing walnut. It's not secret info, but it builds a community. People don't want to just buy a product. They want to buy a piece of your expertise.
And the search engines are getting smarter too, right? No more tagging every post with hashtag woodworking, hashtag blessed, hashtag maker.
Thank God. Now the AI reads your captions for utility. If you describe the specific hardness of the wood or the UV rating of the resin you used, the search algorithm finds the person who is actually looking for those things. It's about being helpful, not being loud.
Speaking of utility, let's talk about the DIY mastery projects for the weekend. I saw that mountain table on the blog. It looks ambitious. Is that something a normal human can actually do in 48 hours?
Define normal. Look, the mountain table is a classic example of using layers to create depth. You're essentially building a topographical map out of reclaimed scraps and then drowning it in blue resin. If you've got a jigsaw and a lot of patience for sanding, you can do it. But it's the trash to art project that really gets my blood pumping.
Oh, you mean the thrift store upcycle? I saw a guy turn a $4 plastic vase into something that looked like it belonged in a Soho gallery. How?
Texture, Alex, it's all about surface prep. You take a cheap, ugly shape, hit it with some textured spray or a DIY plaster mix, and suddenly it has gravitas. It's about looking past the color and seeing the silhouette. I once took a rusted out industrial fan housing I found in a ditch and turned it into a pendant light that a client offered me $600 for.
Did you tell them it came from a ditch?
I told them it was reclaimed industrial hardware with a storied patina, which is technically true. The story just involves a very muddy ditch and a lot of degreaser.
You're a poet, Tiger. A shifty, lateral thinking poet.
Just a man who's made enough mistakes to recognize them as features, Alex. But the real standout this weekend is that modular wood art. If you have a CNC or even just a table saw and a lot of math, you can create these massive geometric wall pieces. You're basically making 50 small triangles and assembling them like a puzzle. It's high impact, low stress.
Low stress for you, maybe. My math usually results in a very expensive pile of firewood.
That's why we have extra wood, Alex. I call it the tax. You always pay the tax to the shop gods.
Well, before we go pay our taxes and start our weekend builds, what's the big takeaway for today?
I think it's this. Whether you're looking at these 2026 trade numbers or the new 3D printing tech, the barrier between dreaming and doing is thinner than it's ever been. We used to spend weeks figuring out how to do a multicolor print or months wondering if a trade career was viable. Now, the tools are smarter, the demand is higher, and the community is right there in your pocket.
So don't wait for the perfect moment.
Exactly. The perfect moment usually involves a lot of dust and at least one thing going wrong. Grab that Quicksilver TPU, sign up for that electrical certification, or go find a piece of trash and make it beautiful.
Well said. We'll be back next week to see if Tiger actually finishes that mountain table or if he just ends up glued to it.
It's 50-50 at this point. Go build something, folks. We'll see you in the den.